Most people think the AI gold rush is about having the best model, the best prompts, the most advanced tools, or some secret tech nobody else has. That's not what wins. In 2026, the tools will be everywhere. Everyone will have access. The real advantage will be understanding what businesses actually need, what they hate paying for, what wastes their time, what causes them mistakes, and what slows them down every single day. If I had to start an AI business in 2026, I wouldn't start by asking what AI can do. I would start by asking a different question that most people avoid because it's not glamorous. Where are people already bleeding money, and where are they already desperate for a fix? That is the difference between a cool AI project and a real AI business that can survive, scale, and actually get paid. Because money doesn't move for hype. Money moves for relief. Money moves when you remove friction that has been annoying people for years. And if you can do that, you don't need to beg for attention. Your customers will feel like you arrived exactly when they needed you. Here is the first category I would choose, and I'm telling you this because it's the category most people skip because it sounds boring. AI automation for internal business workflows, the ugly, repetitive work inside companies that nobody wants to do but everyone is forced to do. I'm talking about the kind of work that silently steals thousands of hours every month across offices, teams, agencies, clinics, warehouses, law firms, real estate companies, logistics, insurance, even schools. Things like turning messy documents into clean data, extracting information from invoices and contracts, sorting emails, routing requests, generating reports, updating spreadsheets, reconciling entries, creating summaries for meetings, scheduling follow-ups, writing standard replies, tracking compliance checklists, flagging anomalies, logging calls, preparing proposals, cleaning leads, tagging tickets, updating CRM notes. The reason this business category is so powerful is simple. It's not about changing the world, it's about changing the day. It removes tedious work that people hate, and companies pay quickly when they can see time being saved and errors being reduced. Most new founders make the mistake of building consumer AI apps that look impressive but have no clear buyer. They collect users who love to test but don't pay. Internal workflow automation is different because it has a built-in buyer. Businesses already spend money on this problem, either through employees' time, through outsourcing, or through old software that doesn't really solve it. If you can step in and say, I can reduce this manual workload by 30%, or I can cut your processing time in half, or I can reduce mistakes that cost you refunds and angry customers, they don't need to be convinced. They understand immediately. In 2026, companies will be under pressure to do more with fewer people. Hiring will be expensive, training will be slow, and burnout is real. AI becomes attractive not as a replacement headline, but as a pressure release valve. It helps teams breathe again, and when something helps a business breathe, they pay. Now, the key is this. You can't build a generic automation tool and expect it to work. Businesses don't want another dashboard. They don't want another complicated platform. They want something that fits into what they already use. You pick one painful workflow and you solve it end to end. For example, take a business that receives hundreds of documents a week and has staff manually pulling data from them, checking them, sending them for approval, and updating records. That is slow, expensive, and full of mistakes. A focused AI system can read those documents, extract the correct fields, validate them against rules, flag exceptions, prepare a summary for a human to approve, and then push the clean data into the company's existing systems. That single workflow can save tens of thousands per year for a small company and much more for a big one. And because the value is measurable, selling becomes straightforward. You aren't selling AI, you're selling fewer hours wasted, fewer costly mistakes, faster turnaround, and fewer angry customers. Here's why this first category belongs on the list of 5 without hesitation. When a company integrates your automation into their operations, they build habits around it. Their team starts relying on it. Their output improves. Their process becomes faster. And switching away becomes painful. Not some fancy moat, but the reality that you're now part of their daily operations. Another reason it's strong is that it's not dependent on trends. Even if AI hype comes and goes, businesses will still want automation that saves money and reduces mistakes. This category doesn't disappear because the market mood changes. The demand stays because the work stays. But let me be honest about what makes people fail in this category. They try to automate too much too early. They try to sell a platform instead of a result. If you tell a business, we have an AI platform that can do many things, they hear risk, complexity, training, uncertainty. But if you tell them, we will cut your onboarding time from 7 days to 2, or we will process your invoices in hours instead of days, or we will reduce your support backlog by 40%, they hear relief. They hear a result they can explain to their boss. This is why the language matters. The best founders in 2026 will speak in outcomes, not features. They'll talk about time saved, error reduction, response time, cost per task, and consistency. People buy what they can understand, and they keep paying for what they can measure. There's another reason internal workflow automation is such a smart first move. It forces you to learn the real world. You get close to operations, teams, managers, and bottlenecks. You learn how decisions are made, why people resist change, what they fear, what they need, and what actually works in practice. That knowledge becomes an advantage that outsiders can't copy quickly. Anyone can copy a feature. Very few can copy deep understanding of a specific workflow in a specific industry, because that understanding comes from being in the trenches with customers. So if I were building in 2026, I would start here because it's practical, it's sellable, it produces results quickly, it creates loyal customers, and it builds a foundation that can expand later. You could start with one workflow, then add a second, then a third, and slowly become the AI operations partner for a niche industry. That is how you build something real. Not by chasing the loudest trend, but by removing the most annoying friction. And once you see how much money is locked inside boring inefficiencies, you stop chasing shiny ideas and start building the kind of business that quietly becomes unstoppable. That's the first of the 5. The next one is different, but it follows the same rule. It targets a real pain where money is already being spent and where outcomes matter more than hype. And once you hear it, you realize why so many people talk about AI but never build anything that lasts. Once you understand that AI businesses succeed by removing pain rather than chasing hype, the second category becomes obvious. Yet most people still miss it because they think it's already too crowded. It isn't. The second AI business I would choose in 2026 is AI-powered customer communication systems for businesses that already receive too many messages and respond too slowly. Email, support tickets, WhatsApp messages, chat widgets, reviews, social media comments, appointment requests, refund questions, onboarding confusion, follow-ups that never happen. Most businesses don't lose customers because their product is bad. They lose customers because response times are slow, answers are inconsistent, and people feel ignored. That's where money quietly leaks out every day. AI here isn't about replacing humans. It's about fixing broken response systems that frustrate customers and exhaust staff. What makes this category powerful is that the cost of bad communication is invisible but massive. Lost trust, lost repeat business, bad reviews, chargebacks, and support teams burning out. In 2026, customers will expect instant clarity, not just instant replies. Businesses that fail to deliver that will feel outdated overnight. A smart AI communication business doesn't just auto-reply. It understands intent, pulls the right information, follows rules, escalates properly, remembers context, and ensures nothing falls through the cracks. Imagine a system that can read a customer's message, understand whether it's billing, technical, emotional, urgent, or routine, then respond correctly or route it instantly with a clean summary for a human. That alone can transform a company's reputation. The reason this business works is because it touches revenue directly. Faster responses mean higher conversion. Better support means higher retention. And when AI improves revenue, businesses don't argue about budgets, they pay. The mistake most founders make is building generic chatbots that sound robotic and annoy customers. The opportunity is in vertical specific communication systems, one for clinics, one for real estate agencies, one for e-commerce brands, one for logistics companies. Each industry has the same communication chaos, but different rules, language, urgency, and consequences. When you specialize, you stop competing on price and start competing on understanding. That's how you survive when everyone else looks the same. Now here's the third AI business idea I would choose. And this one is underestimated because people think it's only for creators or influencers. AI systems for content repurposing and knowledge transformation for professionals and companies. Every serious business produces content, whether they realize it or not. Meetings, calls, trainings, webinars, sales calls, internal docs, presentations, interviews, podcasts, videos, customer conversations. Most of this content dies once it's used once. That's insane when you think about it. There is massive value locked inside existing information that never gets reused, organized, or distributed properly. In 2026, attention will be expensive. The companies that win won't just create more content, they'll extract more value from what they already produce. An AI business here doesn't just cut clips or summarize text, it turns raw information into usable assets across formats and channels. One long internal meeting becomes a clean decision summary, action list, training guide, and onboarding resource. One expert video becomes short-form clips, blog posts, newsletters, internal knowledge base entries, and sales enablement material. One sales call becomes objection libraries, training material, follow-up emails, and CRM insights. Businesses already create this data. They just don't have systems to transform it efficiently. AI becomes the multiplier. This category has massive potential because it saves time and increases output without increasing workload. It also creates consistency. Teams stop reinventing explanations. New hires ramp faster. Marketing stays aligned with reality instead of guessing. And unlike consumer creator tools, B2B knowledge repurposing has budgets. Companies pay because it directly supports sales, training, marketing, and operations. The real opportunity is not selling content creation. It's selling clarity, alignment, and leverage. You're not telling them they need more posts. You're showing them how to stop wasting information they already paid to create. What connects these first three ideas is that none of them depend on being the smartest engineer or having secret AI models. They depend on understanding human systems that are overloaded, fragmented, and inefficient. That's why most people miss them. They're too busy looking for the next viral app instead of the next operational bottleneck. These businesses don't look exciting on Twitter. They look exciting on profit and loss statements. And in 2026, that's what will matter. By now, you should notice a pattern forming. Each idea sits close to money, time, or trust. Internal workflows save time and reduce costs. Customer communication protects revenue and reputation. Knowledge transformation multiplies output and alignment. None of these disappear when trends shift. They grow stronger as complexity increases, and complexity is guaranteed. The next two ideas take this logic even further by moving closer to decision-making and personal leverage, and that's where the real long-term advantage starts to show. By the time AI reaches 2026, one thing will be painfully clear to anyone paying attention. Information will no longer be the problem. Decisions will be. Most people assume AI's value is in producing answers, content, or automation. That's only half the picture. The fourth AI business I would choose focuses on something far more valuable and far more scarce: decision support for businesses and individuals who are overwhelmed by choices. Every organization today is drowning in data, dashboards, reports, metrics, alerts, and opinions. But more data hasn't made people more confident. It has made them slower, more anxious, and more prone to bad decisions. In 2026, the companies that win won't be the ones with the most data. They'll be the ones that can clearly answer a few critical questions at the right time. What should we do next? What matters most right now? What can safely be ignored? Where is risk increasing before it becomes obvious? AI businesses that help people think, prioritize, and decide will be worth more than those that merely generate output. This is where AI moves from assistant to partner. A decision support AI business doesn't replace leadership, it sharpens it. It sits on top of existing data sources and workflows and translates chaos into signal. Instead of showing 10 dashboards, it highlights two problems that actually require attention. Instead of flooding managers with reports, it explains trends in plain language and surfaces trade-offs. Instead of telling people what happened, it helps them understand why it happened and what options exist next. That distinction matters because decisions are emotional. People don't want more numbers. They want confidence. This kind of AI business works because bad decisions are expensive and delayed decisions are even worse. Missed opportunities, overhiring, underinvesting, inventory mistakes, marketing misallocation, burnout from constant urgency. These costs don't show up neatly on a balance sheet, but they destroy performance quietly. When an AI system helps leaders see clearly and act faster, its value becomes obvious very quickly. And because decisions are ongoing, not one-time events, this creates recurring usage and long-term relationships. The mistake many founders make here is trying to build general intelligence. The real opportunity is domain-specific decision intelligence. One system for small e-commerce operators deciding inventory and pricing. One for founders deciding hiring and cash runway. One for sales leaders deciding pipeline focus. One for healthcare administrators deciding capacity and staffing. The narrower the context, the more trusted the system becomes. People don't trust generic advice. They trust systems that understand their reality. Now we reach the fifth AI business idea I would choose in 2026, and this one is deeply personal, deeply human, and massively underestimated. AI for personal leverage and skill amplification, not generic productivity tools, not motivational apps, systems that help individuals compound their thinking, learning, and execution over time. The world is moving faster, expectations are rising, and the gap between those who can learn, adapt, and act quickly and those who can't is widening. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they lack systems. In 2026, the most valuable AI businesses won't just help people do tasks faster, they'll help people become better versions of themselves in measurable ways. Better communicators, imagine AI systems that track how you make decisions, where you hesitate, where you repeat mistakes, where you lose momentum, and help you correct those patterns over time. Not by scolding you, by guiding you, quietly, consistently. This category works because it taps into something timeless, the desire for growth and control. People want to feel capable in a world that feels overwhelming. They want leverage, not hacks. An AI that helps a founder think more clearly, a manager communicate more effectively, a freelancer structure their work, or a student learn faster becomes indispensable. Not because it's powerful, but because it's personal. and personal tools are the hardest to replace. What makes this business difficult is also what makes it valuable. You can't fake understanding. You have to respect psychology, habit formation, and human resistance to change. The best systems here don't overwhelm users with features. They reduce friction. They meet people where they are. They evolve with them. And when done right, they create loyalty that no competitor can steal easily. Now step back and look at the full picture forming across these ideas. Internal workflow automation removes waste inside organizations. AI communication systems protect trust and revenue. Knowledge transformation multiplies existing value. Decision intelligence sharpens leadership. Personal lever systems compound human capability. These aren't random ideas. They are pressure points. They exist because the world has become too complex for old systems, but humans still operate with the same cognitive limits. Most people will miss these opportunities not because they're lazy or unintelligent, but because they're distracted by surface level trends. They'll chase tools instead of problems, features instead of outcomes, speed instead of direction. They'll build things that look impressive but don't anchor themselves to real pain. And when the novelty fades, so will their businesses. What separates those who succeed isn't access to technology, it's clarity of focus. Understanding where AI quietly removes friction rather than loudly showing off. The next and final part will tie all of this together, explain how to think about choosing one path instead of all five, and summarize the core lessons that matter if someone actually wants to build something real instead of just talking about it. At this point, the most important thing to understand is not which of these five ideas sounds the most exciting, but why they exist at all. These businesses are not predictions pulled out of thin air. They are responses to pressure, pressure created by speed, complexity, overload, and rising expectations. Technology didn't create these problems, it exposed them. AI simply makes them impossible to ignore. When systems become too complex for humans to manage manually, new layers of leverage become inevitable. That's where real businesses are born. The mistake most people make is trying to chase all opportunities at once. They see AI everywhere and assume the only way to win is to build something massive, universal, and revolutionary. In reality, the biggest wins often come from choosing one narrow problem and solving it deeply. Every idea discussed here can become a standalone company, but none of them succeed without restraint. The goal isn't to touch everything. The goal is to remove one major friction point so well that people don't want to live without it. Internal workflow automation works because companies are bleeding time and attention in places no one notices until it's too late. AI-powered communication exists because trust is fragile and miscommunication is expensive. Knowledge transformation matters because unused information is wasted capital. Decision intelligence wins because clarity is rare and hesitation is costly. Personal leverage tools endure because people don't just want efficiency, they want progress. Each of these ideas survives scrutiny because it connects directly to human behavior, not hype. If you're thinking about starting something, the question isn't which idea sounds the most profitable on paper. The real question is which pain you understand deeply enough to stay with when it gets boring, difficult, or slow. Businesses don't fail because the idea wasn't smart. They fail because the builder underestimated how long it takes to earn trust and deliver consistent value. AI doesn't shorten that journey. It amplifies it. If you solve something real, AI accelerates success. If you don't, it accelerates failure. Another hard truth is that timing doesn't mean waiting. By the time something feels obvious, the leverage is already gone. The people who benefit most from shifts like this aren't the ones who predict the future perfectly. They're the ones who commit early, learn fast, and adjust honestly. None of these ideas require perfection. They require momentum. Small systems, tested with real users, refined through feedback, and expanded with discipline. That's how sustainable companies are built, not through grand visions, but through repeated execution. It's also important to recognize that AI is not the advantage by itself. The advantage is judgment. Knowing what not to build is just as important as knowing what to build. Knowing when to simplify instead of adding features. Knowing when to listen instead of scaling. Technology is neutral. It magnifies intent. If your intent is clear, AI becomes leverage. If it's not, AI becomes noise. What most people miss is that these opportunities don't require permission. You don't need massive funding, insider access, or perfect credentials. You need proximity to a real problem and the patience to solve it properly. That's why only a small percentage will actually capitalize on this shift. Not because the door is closed, but because discipline is rare. Focus is rare. Follow through is rare. So if there is one lesson to carry forward, it's this. The future doesn't belong to those who wait for certainty. It belongs to those who choose a direction, commit to learning, and keep building while others are still watching. AI will continue to evolve. Markets will shift. Tools will change. But the core principles won't. Build for humans. Stay focused. Move early. Improve relentlessly. That's how these 5 ideas turn from concepts into companies. And that's how opportunity stops being something you watch and starts being something you own.